Okay. Swadin, I think your session is connected twice. Rohit, check your audio setting. Rohit, check your audio setting. Rohit and Ashish, check your audio settings or log off and connect from another browser. One second. Ashish Sharma. Hello students, can you hear me properly?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. So in today's class, we are going to discuss some more screen elements. First, let me go with the next screen element, SAP UI5 formatted text view. That is one of the screen element in SAP UI5. And SAP UI5 formatted text view is used to display the mixed content. It is used to display the mixed content and links in output. We can display text along with combination with links in output when we use a formatted text view. So first let me give one basic requirement here. In the last class, at the end of the session, I told you that I want to display some text like this. So I want to display some text like this in our SAP UI5 screen. But in this particular text, I want to make some links here with SAP UI5. I want to generate this as a link. And SAP Fiori, I want to generate it as hyperlink. And if user click on this particular link, it should go to a Google page It should go to Google results page with all content coming from SAP UI5. Should display the content completely coming from SAP UI5 as query string. And if I click on SAP Fiori link, then it should go to a Google results page which displays SAP Fiori related websites and SAP Fiori related query string. Wherever it is found in website, it will display that in our Google results page. So this is the expectation when user click on these two links. And technically speaking, as a developer, UI5, I want to make it at position link 0, and Fiori, I want to make it at link 1. So 0 is the index and 1 is the index here. First link will be available at index 0. Second link will be available at index 1. First link will be available at index 0. Second link will be part of index 1. Okay, so first let us go according to step-by-step procedure now. So in step 1, what we need to do is we have to define text with some HTML option. You have to define text with HTML option, or I can say HTML embed option. That is step 1. We can also call it as string text here. Text is nothing but we can call it as a string text. So we can define string text with some HTML embed option as part of step 1. So what is step 2? In step 2, you have to create a link object for SAP UI5. And in step 3, you can create another link object. You can create another link object for SAP Fiori. And step 4, you have to create object for formatted text view. You have to create object for formatted text view. That is step 4. We need to assign string text. We need to assign string text to formatted text view. Step 6, we need to add link object to formatted text view. And step 7, we have to add link object. This is for UI5. Similarly, you can add link object SAP Fiori also to formatted text view. Then step 8, place formatted text view on content. You have to place formatted text view on content. So these are the 8 steps you need to follow according to this requirement. But frankly speaking, you can see, you can reduce this. Step 2, step 3 same. Step 2, step 3 same. create link object for SAP UI5, create link object for SAP Fiori. And you can see step 6, step 7, they're also same. So let us make it in single line. You have to add a link object to formatted text view. You have to add Fiori link object to formatted text view. So this is how it looks like. Step 5, and this is step 6. So this is a shortcut. So let us implement in terms of a program. To achieve this requirement, let us implement in terms of a program. So I'm going to an Eclipse now. Under Eclipse, I'm just wanting to use formatted text view. So according to step 1, we have to define some string text that is equal to, in single quotes, you can provide like this. For SAP UI5 as well as Fiori and OData. So at present, what I want to do is SAP UI5, that should be hyperlink, and SAP Fiori, that also should be hyperlink. So that's the reason why you need to make use of one embed option. We can make use of embed option to include hyperlink on UI5 and Fiori. And that is possible by using this. You can use embed. Embed is one of the tag, and you can use data-index equal to, you can use some index as something like 0. You can use index as 0. And this is for SAP UI5 purpose. Embed data-index with index 0. This we are going to use it for SAP UI5 as part of hyperlink. And similarly, for SAP Fiori also, I want to use the same thing. So you can copy that and paste it here. So I've taken one more embed data index, but I want to make this as index 1. Index 1. So this is first link, this is second link. Index 0, I want to use it for UI5. Index 1, I want to use it for Fiori. Then, this is nothing but step 1. As per our procedure, define string text with HTML embed option. Define text with HTML embed option. So that is nothing but this line. We have taken a text, and inside the text, we have taken embed option from HTML. We have taken a text, inside text, we have included embed tag to include hyperlinks. So let me write a simple note otherwise here. Embed tag is used to include HTML content. Under text. You can use embed tag. In this example, we are using embed tag to include HTML content under text. Okay, let us think about step 2. In step 2, we have to create link object for UI5. We have to create link object for SAP Fiori. We have to create link object for UI5. You have to create link object for Fiori. So let us do it in programmatical terms. You can use var link object 0 equal to, you can use sap.ui.commons dot something like link. You can use link, and for this link what you can do is you can set some properties. You can set some properties that is like text here. I'm providing text as SAP UI5, and similarly I can use another property that is the main property href, and you can provide some HTTP, and you can provide some google.com/search q equal to, I want to get such results based on query string UI5. So the query string we are passing here as SAP UI5. So Google results page will display all the results based on SAP UI5. And you can provide some title, not mandatory, but you can provide some title, for example, SAP UI5. That's it. So then similarly, you can copy this code and you can create another link object. We are creating another link object, that is link object 1 for index 1, and that is for Fiori. And I want to get Google results page with SAP Fiori. So you have to provide query string as Fiori. Provide query string as Fiori. So here SAP UI5, in second link we are using SAP Fiori. And title also I'm using SAP Fiori here. So two link objects are created for object index 0. Now what you need to do, you have to combine all these three things. You have to combine all these three things. You have to combine the normal text, you need to combine the link text, and combination of text and hyperlink is possible if you create an object for formatted text view. If you create object for formatted text view, that screen element will allow you to mix the content with string and hyperlinks. It will allow you to mix the content with string and hyperlink, text and hyperlinks. So it's very simple. You can just create an object here where formatted text view object equal to new sap.ui.commons dot. You can use formatted text view. That's it. We are creating object for formatted text view. It is a screen element and it contains a class under same package, SAP UI Commons. Formatted text view is a class belonging to same package, SAP UI Commons. And now what we can do is we need to assign string text to formatted text view. We need to assign string text to formatted text view. That is step 4. So you can use formatted text view object dot set HTML text. You have to use a method set HTML text. So our HTML text is nothing but string text. You can copy that and paste it here. That is our string text. That is nothing but HTML text. After that, we need to add a link object 1 for UI5. You have to add link object for Fiori to formatted text view. So this is possible when you use this statement, formatted text view object dot add control. Add control is a method. You can see this here. Add control, and you can add link object 0, and you can also add another control that is with link object 1. So we are adding link object 0, link object 1 to formatted text view. And the last step is simple. You can place formatted text view. You can place formatted text view object dot place at, and you can place it on content. So technically speaking, what happens is in this particular coding, I can say under this link, it will substitute our link object 0. And similarly, under embed data-index 1, it will substitute with link 1 object. So one is going to take care of UI5, another is going to take care of Fiori. That's it. Very simple. So let me test it now. So I want to place it on link. I want to place it on content 4. So you can use content 4. You can use any area based on your choice. So let us test it. So now you can see I'm testing. I'm opening it in external browser. Let me open here. So now you can see there is some text here. Oasis Technologies is a training center for SAP UI5. You can see there is a hyperlink. And SAP Fiori, there is a hyperlink. And the remaining text is normal. So if I click on SAP UI5, it will go to a SAP UI5 search result inside a Google. You can see that. Similarly, if I select SAP Fiori, then it should open SAP Fiori related options in Google search page. You can see that. So that is how it works. So this is how you can display the mixed content by using a formatted text view. It's simple but important. Formatted text view will allow you to mix the content with normal text and hyperlinks. This is very commonly expected in our web applications. Okay, let me copy that code. Now let us think about SAP UI5 carousel. I want to use SAP UI5 carousel. It's a screen element. It's very simple. It is used to It is used to display content with forward and backward navigation. And carousel is mainly used. Carousel is mainly used to display some photographs on top of output page. So let us use as understand how exactly it works. But remember one basic point here. Inside a carousel, carousel is a screen element and it can contain any number of controls. Carousel screen element can contain any number of SAP UI5 controls. And most importantly, I can say carousel supports vertical and horizontal orientation. It supports both. Carousel supports both vertical and horizontal orientation. Now, say for example, think like this. Think like this here. You can see. So you can see there are some photographs here. I want to display all these photographs. I want to display all these photographs in our SAP UI5 output screen on top of our page. So how to do that? So let us proceed here. Carousel screen element. So let me write the step-by-step procedure first. So according to step 1, you have to create object for carousel. You have to create object for carousel, that is step 1. And step 2, we can create object for image. You have to create object for image. I want to display photographs, so you can create object for image. Something like image 1, image 2, 3, 4, etc. You can create object for image. You can use image 1 to 6 or any number. And then what you need to do is in step 3, you have to add image object to carousel. You have to add image object to carousel. And the fourth step, in step 4, we have to place carousel on content. That's it. It's a very simple procedure. So I told you already, my intention is to display all these photographs on top of our HTML page by using carousel screen element. So first what I'll do is I'll try to import all those images. I'll try to copy all these images. I just copied some 6 images. And you can paste it in your separate folder here. You can right click web content, create a new folder, inside a web content folder, you create one folder for making use of images. Web content folder is a root folder. Web content folder is a root folder. So in that, I'm creating one subfolder as images folder. And under images folder, you can paste all your images. Now you can see I pasted all the images here. Assume that these are the board of directors. So you can paste all those static images here. And then what we can do is now, according to step 1, we have to create an object for carousel. You can create carousel object equal to new sap.ui.commons.carousel. Carousel, that's it. Create an object for carousel. That is nothing but this step 1. And when you are creating a carousel, you can use some width. That's a general property, so you can use some width here. Carousel object dot set width. I want to use 100% width. I want to use 100% width here. And similarly, you can define the orientation, whether it is vertical or horizontal. You can define the orientation, whether it is vertical or horizontal. So you can use like this, set orientation, and you can make, for example, horizontal. So you can provide like that. So this is nothing but step 1. We have created a carousel and we are just setting some width and orientation, whether it is vertical or horizontal. Now, what you need to do according to step 2, we have created object for carousel now. We have created object for carousel. Now, according to step 2, you have to create object for image. As of now, I'm using all static images. So you create object for image. So how you'll create an object? You can use var image object 1 equal to new sap.ui.commons.image is a class. And as you know, image contains two main properties. One is src is a main property. src is a main property. And there are other properties like width, height. They are general properties. But I'm using src as, for example, first image is ajay.jpg is the first image. And you can use some width here, something like 95% or 100%, whatever. And I want to use some height. I want to use some height, something like colon. You can use, for example, 120%. So you can change that and you can try different ways. So the main property of image is src. Width and height is optional. Width and height, they're optional, but src is the main property here. Hello students, can you hear me and can you see my screen? Hello students, can you confirm? Okay. Okay, so let us proceed further here. As of now, I've just created one image object. Similarly, why don't you copy this and why don't you create some n number of images here? 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. and I want to use different names. So these are the names I'm using. And this is nothing but according to step 2. So don't worry, in the coming classes, we are going to get the image from OData service. We can get the images from OData service. That part I'll cover after introducing how to consume OData services. That part will come into picture, but as of now, we are just displaying some static images here. And then now we need to add image object to carousel. You can add image object to carousel. So let me do that. Carousel object dot add content. You can see there is a method here. There is a method like add content. Add content. So you can select that. And you can add some content like image object 1. Similarly, you can add all the images. Image object 2, 3, 4, and 5, then 6th one. So we are adding all our static image objects to carousel. So we are adding image to a carousel by using add content method here. We are adding image to a carousel by using add content method. That's a standard method. And then I want to use carousel object to be placed at content. So let me copy this code on top section. I want to place it somewhere here. I'm placing it on content. So this is a code we have written just now for carousel. Now let us test it. Let me test. So images are not loaded here. You can see images are not loaded. Why? Because I kept all the images under images folder. So that's the reason why when you are using images in images folder, then in the coding part, then you have to use that. Images slash. So you can use like that. Because our images are placed in a subfolder, that is images folder. Then let us refresh now. So after refreshing, now you can see images are reflected here. And you can see this is how carousel works. So it can move in the forward direction or it can move in the backward direction. So this is how it looks like. And this works on every browser. You can test it on any external browser also. So this is how it looks like. Very simple, but it will be useful. So this type of features are not directly available in our ABAP screens. That's the reason why we make our SAP data available over internet and over any device, and we add all our internet features. The main theme of this technology is to make sure that our SAP data is available via internet, via any device, and with all internet features. That's the reason why all these screen elements comes into picture. So let me copy this code. In your case, you paste directly images. In your case, directly paste your images in web content and test it. You paste it in web content and test it. But I pasted in one subfolder, so that's the reason why I was using images slash that image name. Okay, now let us go with some radio buttons in SAP UI5. SAP UI5 radio button group. So now I want to display list of radio button items with static values. In the coming classes, we are going to get the values from backend system by consuming OData service. But as of today, we are going to display the items with static values in radio buttons. Okay, don't think about dynamic features. Dynamic features, we are going to do it when we go for interacting with OData services. Okay, first understand how to display static values. So you know what is radio button group. So directly let me write the step-by-step procedure here. Just create object for radio button group. You have to create object for radio button group. That is step 1. And then step 2. You have to create item. You have to create object for item. You have to create object for item based on requirement. So you can repeat this. You can repeat this step 2 for n number of items. And after that, you can use step 3. Step 3, you can add an item. Or else what you can do is you can create object for item in step 2. And step 3, you can add item to radio button group. You have to add item to radio button group object. And step 4, you can repeat. You can repeat step 2 and step 3 for n number of items. Step 4 is nothing but just repeat step 2 and step 3 for any number of items. Based on your choice, you can repeat step 2 and step 3 for any number of items. And at last, what you need to do is you have to place radio button group object on content. That's a very common procedure. So this is how you can plan to display static values here. But in the coming classes, we are going to display the values coming from backend system. Don't worry about that part. Concentrate on how to display radio button group on with static values. So let us go according to step 1. Create object for radio button group. So as I told you, every screen element contains one class. So let us do that now. I'm using like so according to step 1, let us create an object here for radio button group equal to new sap.ui.commons sap.ui.commons dot you can use radio button group. Very simple. That is nothing but step 1. Then according to step 2, we have to create object for item. According to step 2, we have to create object for item. So you can use var item object equal to new sap.ui.core.item. So item belongs to a different package here. Item is a class, but it belongs to sap.ui.core. So item is not a screen element. Radio button group is a screen element. Item is just like a value here, but it is not a screen element. So item is a class belonging to sap.ui.core package. And what you can do is you can use like this. You can provide some text here. First item I want to display as Sap Ui5. And you can also use key for capturing the value. Text is for display purpose. Key is to handle the values through coding. Text is for display purpose, but key is to use inside the code to manipulate the values or to capture the value. So after this, what you can do is you can use radio button group object dot add item. Radio button group object dot you can use add item. Add item is a method and it will allow you to add your item object here. Very simple. Now what you can do is similarly you can use this. You can copy this code and you can repeat this for any number of items. You can repeat it for any number of items and you can display some text here. So you can add any number of static values like this with text and key. With text and key, you can add list of items. And after this, what you can do is you can place radio button group object dot place at, and you can place it on content. You can place it on content. So that is what we have done. You can see after creating object for item, we have added item to radio button group. After adding item to radio button group, I have repeated step 2 and step 3. I have repeated step 2 and step 3 for n number of items. I have repeated step 2, step 3 for n number of items, and then we placed radio button group on some content area. So that is the procedure. So let me test it now. Right click and check web application preview. So most of the people, they are doing some mistake while testing. So just be careful here. You have to run as, you have to choose run as, you have to choose run as web application preview. Don't select run on server. Don't select run on server. Just select web application preview while testing. Okay. Okay, let me test it now. So now you can see there are some values. Let me open in external browser. So you can see now there are some values with radio buttons here. SAP UI5, Fiori, OData, Sales, ABAP, and WebDim Pro. So there are some radio buttons here with static items. Okay, but just observe one basic point here. By default, when you run the application first time, by default, when you run the application for first time, the first item is selected here. The selection is on first item, but say for example, I want to select SAP WebDim Pro as a default selection. I want to maintain default selection on SAP WebDim Pro. So then what you can do is here you can use like one property. You can use one property, selected index. Selected index, I'm using, for example, 5. This is a default selected index. I'm using 5, so the selection should be on WebDim Pro. So let me try that now. So now you can see the default selection is on SAP WebDim Pro because of that property, selected index property. When you run in external browser, it will be same like that. Now you can see it is on SAP WebDim Pro. Okay, so not only that, if you closely observe this one, all the radio buttons are available in the form of a vertical manner. All the radio buttons are available in vertical manner, but I want to display radio buttons in horizontal manner. I want to display in horizontal manner. So then what you can do is you can use one property here, another property that is columns equal to columns colon. For example, I'm using single column. Sorry, columns. I'm using, for example, 6 columns I'm using. There are 6 items, so I'm using 6 columns, so everything will be available in horizontal manner. All the items will be displayed in horizontal manner, so let me test it. So now you can see the difference. All items, so you can see all the items are available in horizontal manner because of columns property here. Okay, so that is how you can use the properties. So if you use columns 1, then everything will be in vertical manner. I've used columns 1, now everything will be in vertical manner. Now you can see that. So that is how you can test it. In this example, it will be for vertical display. If it is 1, and it will display horizontally if it is 6. So these are the things that you need to notice. Okay, I'll stop for today. In tomorrow's class, we'll proceed with drop-down box, list box, and some more screen elements like road map, tab strip. There are several screen elements we are going to understand in tomorrow's class. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
Hello.
Hi Vijay, Neeraj this
Vijay?
side.
Hello? Yeah,
Hello.
Venkat.
Hi. I've sent you a screenshot regarding this, Eclipse. Actually, I
Okay.
could download the Eclipse and I could also download the Java. But once I double click on this Eclipse, it takes me to that, this thing. But what it does is it throws me an error saying that some ABAP something is not there or something. And
That
I've
you can
checked in
ignore.
that about Eclipse also.
That message you can
No,
ignore.
yeah, I've ignored it. I have ignored it. I have pressed OK, and then I went into create, that file, new other path. But inside that, it again comes up a pop-up and says select wizard. But underneath it, it doesn't show me anything. I have sent that screenshot also to you.
So then I think your plugins are not added. That might be the problem, because everyone almost
And I checked
every,
that
everyone is able to do
about
it.
Eclipse also. I checked, help about Eclipse also I checked, and it shows me that SAP UI5 icon over there, and that screenshot also I have sent you.
That UI5 plugins is okay, but I think the plugins may not be properly added, or all the plugins may not be added. So that might be the problem.
Okay.
So I think this is the first time
So
I'm experiencing this type of problem. So as soon as you add the plugins, definitely it will allow you to create a project.
okay.
Are you working in your company machine or just your own machine?
No. My personal laptop. It's
In your
Windows 8.
in personal laptop, then what you do is just try to reinstall that operating system and try again, because others are able to do it
Reinstall the operating
successfully.
system.
Just try to format that, or
Okay.
try to reinstall that, because you have to use Eclipse Juno. Try to use Eclipse Juno and try to use the link which I told you to add the plugins.
Yeah. Same link. Yesterday you sent. Day before yesterday you sent me the link. So the same link I have used. I have downloaded the same. Everything is working fine, but only thing is that when I go into that pop-up comes up.
Okay, then what I'll do is tomorrow after 5 o'clock, I'll try to connect to your machine with TeamViewer. Okay?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Then what about others?
Yeah, hi Vijay,
Hello.
Neeraj this side.
Yeah, Neeraj.
Yeah, I have a practical question. Like there are many screen elements, and I have already gone through that guide, SAP demo kit, which is SAP UI5 demo kit.
Okay.
And like take an example of the first one which we use, that is the formatted text view. So if I saw that guide, I could able to find the same properties in which we have used methods,
Okay.
right? So if you go through the guide, if I'm using any screen element for the first time, how I can refer the guide, and how I can I mean, how I'll know that whether I have to use method or whether I have to use property instead of that method. I mean,
No, you have to check the documentation. You can see in documentation, it is available, right? You can see it will clearly tell you the properties and the methods. If you go to controls, say for example, I'm selecting table. So you can see here, there is a API documentation.
right.
You have to go to API documentation. For example, I'm using table, and you can see table contains, these are the events. You can see that. And here you can see, these are the methods which are applicable on table. These are the methods applicable on table. And then you can see at the bottom, you can see the properties of the table. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, but what is the basic difference in terms of properties of a table and the method which we can use on the table? I mean,
No,
uh,
what they're trying to do is, some of the properties they are giving in the form of methods also. You can say, for example, I'm using this one. Here you can say, I'm using selected index as a property, but you can see, we can also use like this. Radio button group object dot set. Let me choose. Here you can see set something like selected item. Are getting my point? So selected item, and you can make something like some SAP UI5 or something like that. So what I mean to say is, you can make a default selection by using a method, or you can use directly by using a property. So there is a combination. There is like a mixed combination. You can directly use from properties, or you can call from method. There won't be much difference in the functionality part. Are you getting my point? So
okay,
here
fine.
we are using selected index as a property, but here selected item, but both are same technically.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Okay.
tomorrow, once we create any this object, just refer once. I mean, so that we could able to understand that which method you are referring, or why not property and why method. So just need to
Okay.
understand that there is a little confusion.
Okay. But the only thing is here, there is no hard code principle. Just you have to, if you want to call the methods, just use dot control space, you'll get the list of methods. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've seen, because there is a property called width. We have used method as width, and there is a property also with the name as
Yes,
width for
so,
the same.
but both are technically same. That's what I'm saying. Output point of view, there won't be any difference. You can use it directly as in the form of property. If it is not available in the form of property, you can use it in the form of a method.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
fine.
but technical device, they are same. There is no difference.
Fine. So
Yeah.
just if you can tomorrow, if you can spend just 10 minutes on the documentation, so that there are a lot of things which we all want to understand, like in terms of event handler, that when we can use
No, no,
that.
no. The thing is, let me tell you, events will come into picture. Events, functions, all those things comes into picture in the coming classes, not now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to write the dynamic functionality behavior by creating a function, and we are going to assign the function to the events. So event handling technique will come into picture in the next week mostly.
Okay. And
Okay.
methods borrowed from different classes, like SAP UI core, SAP UI base. I think today we have an example for UI core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you can see for packages, you can go to script resources. Under script resources, you can find that. Under script resources, you can see there is a UI5, SAP UI5 core libraries. Under that, you can see SAP.yum. SAP.yum. We are going to use this also for Fiori applications. And you can see SAP.UI.core. You can see there is an item. Are you getting my point? So SAP has already written the code for that. Internally, there is some code already written by SAP here. That is for
Right.
generating an item.
Right. Yeah, because in
Okay,
future, if
so
we try to create these applications, we will be referring this help guide, which is very, very useful to us.
exactly. So without help, it is not possible to proceed further. Help is
Right,
given by SAP to make developer job very easy.
right. So tomorrow, just create one object with reference to that guide, so that just a little confusion will go off.
Yeah, these things, whatever I've done till now is also based on the reference of the guide only. I did not write my own coding. Please remember that. I did not write. All these things are taken from the guide itself. Okay. So,
Mhm.
but I am not directly referring to that guide, because if I go to guide, then there will be a lot of confusion. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, yeah.
First we'll go with the general screen elements. After that, we'll start using the guide.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Then
Hi
what
Vijay.
about others? Yeah.
Hi Vijay.
Hello.
Hello Vijay.
Yeah, Anil.
Yeah, I have a doubt in the formatted text view.
Okay.
Can you please go to the code?
Yeah, these are
Hello.
code. Yeah, these are code.
Yeah. What is that data index in that embed tag?
Data index is nothing but an index, and that will be a dynamic value. The dynamic value will be coming because of this statement here, add control. You can see that. So here, link object 0 is substituted at runtime. It is substituted at runtime at index 0. So that is what happens here because of that embed data index.
Okay, then you can change the variable name from link 0 to link 5 or any name you can give or what.
You can use any variable here, link 0, link 1, that doesn't matter, but it all depends on
Okay.
how you are adding this sequence. The sequence is followed with index 0.
Okay.
The variable
And
name
I
can
have
be anything.
yeah. Okay. And I have one doubt in the radio button group.
Okay.
If you specify the column as 3,
Okay. Then it will display all the radio buttons in terms of 3 columns. You can see now. Okay, let me go to that radio button group. You can see columns. Say for example, I'm using 2. Then you can see the
yeah.
difference in the output now. Let me refresh. So you'll get all radio buttons only in 2 columns. Now you can see the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Then what about others? Any other doubts?
Vijay, Ravi here.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
Ravi.
Hello. Hello, Vijay.
Yeah, Ravi, you can speak now.
Yeah, Vijay. Like whatever in the radio button, you are displaying like an item, and you are
Yeah.
specifying the text. Whether we have, can we specify only the text, or we can put on any other element, like image or something, whatever we want.
You want image as radio button?
Yeah, Vijay. Inside that item, you have specified like in radio button group, we're adding an item of text. You specified
Yeah.
here the text.
So
Instead of
here
text, can we?
radio button group will display only items with text only. It will not display any image directly there.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
But what you can do, you can use some coding techniques to That's it. So the last step is a very common step. For every screen element, you have to place it on some content of your HTML body. So let me do that here. I'm going to index file somewhere here. I want to use like a drop down. First, let us create a object for drop down by using sap.ui.commons. You can use a drop down box here. So that is according to step 1. According to step 1, you can create an object for drop down box as per this line. We are using a new operator, we are using a package name and a class name. So that is step 1, create object for dropdown. And according to step 2, you have to create object for list item and you need to provide some text. You have to create object for list item and you need to provide some text for the dropdown. So, one second, there are multiple logins. So we have to create object for list item with text. So let us do it practically here. You can use var list item object equal to new sap.ui.core you have to use list item. There is a separate class to add the list item values. So you can use sap.ui.core list item, and for list item you can use some option here like text. For example, I'm using SAP UI5. You can provide some text, for example, SAP UI5. Now what you can do is you can add this list item. You can add this list item object to drop-down object. So you can use drop-down object dot. You can use add method here. You can see there is a method like add item. So add item, it is expecting some list item here. You can see this. It is expecting some list item. And you can provide list item object. So I've just added single value, but what you can do is after adding list item to drop down, you can repeat step 2 and step 3. You can repeat step 2 and step 3 for n number of items or n number of values. So let me repeat these 2 lines. So I'm just repeating those lines. And I'm changing the item text here. I'm just providing some text here. So I provided some items with different text here: UI5, Fiori, OData, WebImpro, Sales, HCM, ABAP, etc. So that is how you can repeat step 2 and step 3. And then you have to place drop-down box on content area. You can place drop-down on content area. So just you can use like drop-down object dot place at, and you can place it on some content area. So that's a very common step. So let me test it. So now you can see, let me open external browser. So you can see here there is a drop down, and drop down is displaying some list of values which we have hard coded within the program. At present we are displaying static values, but in the next week we are going to deal with OData services, and we are going to get the data from backend system. Okay, don't be in a hurry. How to get data from backend to drop down, how to bring data from backend to table, backend to radio button group, backend to form. So all these things will come in the next weekend, in the next level. So at present we are just using static values here. And if you closely observe, the first item is by default selected here. First item is default selected, but say for example, I want to make selection on SAP WebImpro here. I want to make default selected value as SAP WebImpro, then what you can do is you can write one single line here. Drop-down object dot set value. You can use set value, that is a method, and I can set some value, for example, SAP WebImpro. So that is for making a value default in drop-down. So drop-down box dot set value, you can provide the value whichever you want to make default inside drop-down. So let us test it now. Let me refresh. After refreshing, now you can see it is default to SAP WebImpro, and you can also test it in external browser. After refreshing, you'll get the default selected as SAP WebImpro here. You can see that. Okay, but if you closely observe this drop down, inside a drop down, user can select only the value from the list. In case of drop down, a user can select a specific value which is available in the list. A user cannot enter a new value here. So that's the reason why we make use of one screen element like combo box. If you are using a combo box will allow you to select a value from existing list. If the value is not available, then it also allows user to enter a new value. In case of drop down, it will always allow you to select only the value from the specified list. But in case of combo box, it will allow a user to select a value from the list. If the user thinks that the value is not available, then he can provide a new entry also. User can provide a new entry inside that combo box apart from the specified list. So let me write the difference. Before that, let me copy this code. So let us go with a SAP UI5 combo box. So first let me write a note. Drop-down box will allow user to select a value from existing list only. Drop-down box will allow user to select a value from existing list only. But in case of combo box, combo box will allow user to select a value from existing list, or user can provide a new value which is not part of the list. So that is one of the advantage of combo box. But in drop-down box, user has to select a value from the list only. In drop-down box, user is forced to select a value from existing list only in case of drop-down. But in combo box, user is not forced to do that. So remember that. So let us implement this step 1. According to step 1, you can create an object for combo box, and step 2 for list item. You have to create object for list item. Step 3, when you are creating object for list item, you have to provide text here. When you are creating object for list item, better provide the text. And then you can add list item. You can add list item to combo box. Step 4, you can repeat step 2 and step 3 for n number of values or items. You can repeat step 2 and step 3 for n number of items or values. And at last, in step 5, you can place combo box on content. That's it. So procedure is same like your development procedure is same like your drop-down box. The only difference is instead of using drop-down box class, we are going to use a combo box class here. Instead of using drop-down box class, we have to use a combo box class, but the procedure wise, everything is same. As a developer point of view, combo box drop-down coding will be same, except the class name. So let me do that here. I can use the same coding. I'm using the same code here, but I'm just trying to change this from drop-down box to combo box. Drop-down box to combo box I'm using. So just observe carefully here. And if you want to replace here, you can replace combo box object. I'm creating object for combo box. So you can change all the remaining things. Let's copy this object name and let me paste it everywhere. Just I'm changing that reference name. So if there is any problem, we'll try to rectify after testing. So the only main difference here is, the main point here is, instead of using drop-down box class, you have to use a combo box class here. But both belongs to same package. Both belongs to same package. So let me test it now. So you can see now there is a combo box. These are the list of values available. These are the list of values available. But say, for example, I want to enter a value. For example, a user can select a value from the existing list here. He can select the value from existing list. But say, for example, I want to enter a new value, for example, OS. So that is also possible. So Oasis is the text not available in this list, but still it is allowing you because it is a combo box. Say, for example, I want to use object-oriented ABAP. So object-oriented ABAP value is not available in the list, but still a user can enter a new value here in case of combo box. But that feature is not possible with drop-down box. Okay, so you might have understood this. You can enter a new value which is not part of the list also. Okay, so remember that if required, you can select the value from the existing list, or you can enter a new value from that, which is not part of the list also. So that is how it works. So let me copy this code. Just read this difference. The difference between combo box and drop-down box, very commonly expected in the interviews. Very commonly expected question in the interviews. Difference between a drop-down box and combo box. So just focus on these last 2 points. Now say, for example, I want to use a list box. I want to use a list box and I want to add some list of values to the list box. So let us use that. List box. So list box will allow user to select 1 or 0 or 1 or many values. List box will allow user to select either 0 value or 1 value or many values as input. So let us see how it works. So according to step 1, you just create object for, you can create object for list box. Step 2, you can create object for list item. You can create object for list item with some text. And then step 3, add list item to list box. add list item to list box. Then repeat that step 2 and step 3. Repeat step 2, step 3 for n number of values in list box. You can repeat step 2, step 3 for n number of values in list box, and then step 5, you can place list box on content of HTML body. So that's a procedure you need to follow. So let us do that now. So where you can use list box object equal to new sap.ui.commons.listbox. So list box is a class here. And what you can do is you can create, according to step 1, we have just created object for list box. Whenever I say new operator, whenever I use new operator, then it is nothing but creating an object. So step 1 is create object for list box, and this is what we have done here. And now you have to create object for list item with some text. You have to create one object for list item with some text. So to do that, you can use list item, something like list item object equal to new sap.ui.core dot sap.ui.core dot, you can use list item. And for list item, what you can do is you can directly provide some text here. For example, I want to provide some list of countries, and then you can use the next step, add list item to list box. Third step is you can add list item to list box. So let us use list box object dot add method. List box object dot, there is a method here, you can see add item, and you can provide your list item object. Similarly, you can repeat step 2, step 3 for n number of values. You can repeat step 2 and step 3 for n number of values. So let us do that. You can copy that and just paste it here. For n number of values. I'm just changing the text for each item. Just added some list of countries here. So that is how you can repeat step 2, step 3. And don't forget, we are populating static values at this point of time. Now what you can do is you can place list box on content. You can place list box on content. So how to do that? It's very simple. You can use list box object dot place at, and you can place it on some content area. So that's a very common step. Harshal Patel, try to mute your settings. Yeah. So we can place list box object on content. So let us see how it works after refreshing. So now you can see there is a list box here, and in that list box, these are the values available here. So let me open an external browser. So you can see India, China, US, UK, Germany, Nepal, etc. Values are available here. So at this point of time, I can say a user can select one value at a time. From list box by default, user can select single value at a time. But I want to provide facility to select multiple values. I want to provide facility to select multiple values. Then what you can do is you can write one line here, that is listbox object dot set. Set, you can see allow multi-select here. Set allow multi-select. So that is the method available here. And before using this, I just want to highlight one important point. Just observe here. So you can see there is a method like set allow multi-select. So there is a method here, set allow multi-select, but it is expecting a Boolean value that you can recognize by observing this B. B indicates you have to pass a Boolean value. And say, for example, there is a method here, and this method is expecting some integer value here. And you can see there is a method here that is set height. There is a method, for example, set height. So you can see S. S means it is expecting a string value. S means it is expecting a string value. And you can see here there is a method, some binding context, etc. There is a method like set binding context, and you can see O. O means it is expecting an object here. O means it is expecting an object. So what I mean to say is when you're writing the program, if you find a method with expectation as B, then it is expecting a Boolean value. When you are calling a method, if you find S at the beginning of that parameter, then you need to use something like, you have to pass the string value. And if there is O, then you have to pass an object. And if there is I or int, then you have to pass integer value or numeric value. And if you use something like this one, if you find something like this one, then you need to pass an array. The method is expecting an array. So that is how you need to recognize. B for Boolean, S for string, O for object, I for integer, int is also for integer. And if you find this flower a square bracket, if you find square bracket, then it is expecting an array when you call that method. So that is how you need to recognize. As a developer, you have to recognize the expected value of which data type by finding B, S, O, I, some square bracket. So remember this. Okay, first let me directly use this set allow. Set allow multi-select is one of the method here. And you can see it is expecting B. B means it is expecting a Boolean value. So I'm just using multi-select as true. So let us test it now. And let me refresh in the external browser. Now user can select multiple values here. You can see that a user can select multiple values. So if you closely observe, we can change that color. The selection color, we can change it later. Don't worry. But as of now, I could select 4 values. There is some light blue color after selection. Now the selection is on 2 values here. So now selection is on Germany, only single value. So that is how user can select multiple values when you are using a list box. Similarly, okay, let me copy this. And just let us understand a simple note here. Let me open the documentation. So in documentation, you can see SAP has recently upgraded to 1.30. Earlier it was 1.28. Now it is upgraded to 1.30. I think yesterday they have upgraded to 1.30 for SAP UI5 version. So there is no much change, but you can see here you'll find the same controls. And say, for example, there is a table here. I'm not using a table. I just want to tell you how to utilize the parameters. So here you can see here you can see there are several methods here. There are several methods. So you can see something like B. That means it is expecting a Boolean value. Here you can see I. I means it is expecting an integer value. And you can see here there is a O. O means it is expecting some object. And here you can see S. S means expecting some string value. String value. So that is how you need to take care of the method parameter when you are using it. B, I, O, S, square bracket. So these are the things you will get when you are calling the methods. So this is list box is one of the screen elements. So before that, let me write one simple note. A method in scripting may expect values of type. Values of type, it can be B, means it may expect a Boolean value. S, it can expect a string value. I, it is expecting an integer value. INT also is for integer, and you can use O. O is for object. And square bracket, that means it is expecting some array. So better to remember this point also when you are calling the methods. When you are calling the methods, just take care of this one. Now, Say for example, I want to use some more screen elements like a panel. I want to use SAP UI5 panel. So that is one of the screen element, and panel is like a container. And panel, under a panel, we can add any screen element. And panel can generate. Panel is used to generate a section. Panel is generally used to generate a separate section in the output. And panel content can be maximized. Panel content can be maximized or it can be minimized. Panel is just like a container. Under a panel, we can add any screen element, and panel is used to generate a separate section in the output. And most importantly, panel can be maximized or it can be minimized. So, say for example, I want to add something like a radio button group in a panel, and I want to add a list box in a panel. I want to add something like text area inside a panel. We can add any type of content inside the panel. We can also add a table. We are going to discuss table in the coming classes, so we can also add a table inside the panel. So that's the reason why I said under a panel, we can add any type of screen element. Any type of screen element means it drop down checkbox, table, graph, whatever. So let us see one requirement here. Think like this. There is a panel. Assume that this is a panel. Inside a panel, I want to display radio button group values, plus I want to display, for example, list box, plus, for example, I want to display something like text area. I want to add all these three things inside a panel. Similarly, after explaining a table, you can also use the same procedure to add a table inside the panel. After completing the table part, you can also add a table inside the panel. And most importantly, I can say panel contains an icon here for minimizing and maximizing. Panel contains one icon that is for minimizing and maximizing the content. It contains an option to maximize and minimize the content inside the panel. So let us see how it appears. So now think like this. Text area. So now let us think about panel creation here. It's very simple. Create a panel object with new sap.ui.commons. You can create a panel object using sap.ui.commons.panel. You can see panel is also one of the class here. panel is one of the class, so I can use that panel. After that, what you can do is you can use panel object dot, you can use add content. You can use a method that is add content to add any screen element. So let me add content. For example, I want to add radio button group object. So you have to comment this playset method. I want to use combo box. For example, I want to use list box. Then you can comment this. You can comment this line. You have to comment this place at. And I want to use text area object. So you can comment this line. Now what you need to do is, instead of placing those three screen elements on a content, I am placing inside the panel. Instead of placing those screen elements under content of HTML body, I am bringing those three screen elements inside the panel. So you can pass that here, radio button group object. And you can use panel object dot something like add content. Add content, and you can pass this one, list object, list box object. List box object. You can pass it here. And similarly, panel object dot add content, and you can add this text area. So that is how you can add any type of screen element to a panel by using add content method. You can add any type of screen element inside a panel by using add content method, and you have to place panel object on content area of HTML body. I want to place it on content of HTML body. So we are adding radio button group, list box, and text area to the same panel. So let us test it now. So now you can see there is a panel. Let me open an external browser. So here you can see there is a radio button group, there is a list box, and there is a text area. So everything are available inside the panel, and you can see maximize and minimize option. You can have maximize and minimize option. So that is the use of a panel here. And for panel, what you can do is you can also provide some title. I think, let me check here. Just like employee panel I'm using. Let me try. So I think it is not applicable. So let us use text here. Panel text, let me try. So now you can see we are able to get that. So here you can see there is an employee panel, that is a text, we are able to get it for a panel. So that is how you can minimize or maximize. So whenever there is so many screen elements in a single screen, when there are so many screen elements in a single screen, then you can place the group of screen elements in a separate panel, and that can be minimized and maximized. When there are so many screen elements in your single screen, then group the relative screen elements and place it inside a panel. And you can use multiple panels in a single screen also. You can also use multiple screen elements in a single panel, and you can use multiple panels in a single screen. So all those possibilities are possible.
Hello.
Hello everyone. Is it all are facing the same issue? I think Nazar have moved. Uh, Hello.
Yes, yes. Actually, that is some problem.
Disconnect, right?
No,
From the
no, no.
organizer
From
side.
our side, it is not problem. It
Maybe
is
power.
problem from.
I think is
Okay.
he as he told that the power, if power goes, his session will be
Yeah.
disconnected.
Okay. Okay. Bye everyone then. I think we will not
Hello
rejoin
guys.
because it's
Is there
almost time.
anyone using
Oh.
Windows 8? Windows 8 for downloading Eclipse?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I am
So
using.
you're able to download file. I mean, is it working fine or is there any error coming?
No, no, it's working fine.
Because I am also using Windows 8, but I mean, I could download the Eclipse. When I double click Eclipse, it's giving me one error actually. But I was asking Vijay, but he's saying
What
like
kind of
don't.
error?
It's saying something like ABAP, something related to. One second.
Because previously I was also facing the issue, but it got rectified. I have some Google it and I find one issue that you have to change some settings, and after it working fine.
Okay, what was the error you faced?
Actually, it was previously Eclipse was not coming up, means it is not opening. So
Okay,
it was the issue.
okay.
Some
No, actually for that ABAP error, you need not worry about it. You just press, and Sunil here,
Yeah,
for that ABAP
actually I
error,
have. Yeah.
you don't need to do anything. You just press OK and go ahead. It will allow you to do the scripting.
Okay, yeah, see, I think I did that. I have pressed OK and then went into that, that file menu, new and other. I mean, there is an option called other, right, in the download.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
there is a window pops up, but the thing is for select wizard. But underneath that, it's all blank. Nothing displays it. That's my problem.
Is it a 64-bit or 32-bit?
64.
Even I am also using 64 only, Windows 8.
Okay.
But I didn't face it. And I am using that
problem, isn't it?
No, that ABAP error comes. I used to press OK and go ahead. It allows me to do the script.
And you just go into file, new, and then
JD. And have you installed JDK?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I have
you
installed
select
JDK.
File, new, other, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just I'll tell you the exact one. Just a second.
ఈ మధ్యలో ఆయన కనెక్ట్